Hey YouTube, John Ball Attorney here. I wanted to go over a gun that I purchased at Academy about 9 months, maybe a year ago. It's the Beretta PX4 Storm subcompact. This one's chambered in 9mm. It's already got the hammer back because I did a safety check on it before I started the video. As you can see, there is no magazine in the gun. Have the magazine sitting right here. There are some bullets in there because I do carry this gun with me pretty regularly, and I wanted to go over a couple of issues I've had with some failures to feed, failures to eject with it, but I'll go over those here shortly. Paid $4.99 for this at Academy, out the door a little over $500. It is right at about 6 inches long, so this isn't your standard subcompact pistol. This is not like the Ruger LCP. It is not like the Sig Sauer. I believe it's the 226, the 380 version that Sig put out. Those are fine guns, and I owned a Ruger LCP at one point, but for me, I preferred to have something a little bit bigger, a gun that was a little more substantial, so I ended up getting this and a couple of other subcompact handguns that were chambered in 9mm. This one has the double stacked magazine, so you get more rounds to carry with it. This one has 13 rounds in the magazine. When you put one in the chamber, you're looking at 14 rounds total for carry. I've read all the discussions and the blogs, the message boards, the concerns some people express about shooting 9mm, about whether 9mm has enough stopping power or knockdown power, that sort of stuff. For me, I don't personally subscribe to those theories. I think that if you have a 9mm, I think that's plenty of gun. I think if you have a 9mm and you train with it often, you train with it consistently, and you get proficient with shooting it, I think that 9mm is plenty. You're going to be just fine with it, especially if you go out and you purchase some good hollow points, some good plus P ammo to carry in it. It's going to work just fine. It's going to be just fine as a self-defense gun, so I don't have any issues there. This one is the tilt barrel system. The PX4s that are the compact and the full size, they have the rotating barrel. This one doesn't have the rotating barrel. It has the lock breech tilting barrel for it. Shooting it is a real pleasure. It handles great. It has some pretty substantial weight to it, and when you add a full magazine into it, you really know that you're carrying a weapon. You know that it's on your hip. You're not going to forget it's there. It's a big gun for a pocket gun, but it can be a pocket gun. And when I wear pants that are a little bit loose, or cargo shorts, something that has a little more room in the pockets, I will carry it as a pocket gun. So it can be done, but it's big, and you're going to know that it's there, but it's small enough that it is very readily concealable. This comes with an ambidextrous decocker and safety for it. So when you insert the magazine and you rack it and put one in the chamber, it's going to come back here into single action. This acts as not only a hammer drop decocker, but as a safety. For me, I'm a fan of that. I grew up around weapons, pistols, and most of those pistols had safeties on them, so it's not an issue for me to have one. I have a lot of friends who do not care for pistols that have safeties on them. They're much more of the Glock crowd. They want the no safeties, ready to fire as soon as it's pulled out of the holster. I like the added security for me of having the decocker and the safety on it, because I don't particularly want to wind up shooting myself in the leg on accident. Not that that is really a likely scenario if you keep it in a holster, but sometimes things happen that you're not expecting. So that for me is a good addition to it. The only drawback to it, and I think you'll be able to see there, is that this decocker, it is big. You will sometimes have it dig into your side a little bit, into your hip a little bit. You'll know that it's there. It's not terribly uncomfortable. It's just a little bit of a nuisance. But again, if I'm carrying a firearm, I want to remember that the firearm is on me. I don't want to get sloppy with it. I want to make sure that I remember that it's there, and that's why I don't particularly favor what I tend to call the micro subcompacts, the Ruger LCPs and those other guns. And again, not knocking anybody that has those. If you got them, great, carry them, practice with them, but for me, I just prefer something a little more substantial. The sights on this, easy to acquire. They are easy to acquire in low light. The sights are big and they work well. Shoots good groups, even though it's a very short barrel. It shoots nice groups. I do my shooting with this at 10 yards or less. I don't think that it's realistic for the reasons that you carry this gun, which is self-defense. I don't think that it's realistic that you're ever going to need to really worry about shooting past 10 yards, and I think more realistically you need to worry about shooting it under 10 yards. That's just my opinion, and so that's what I practice at. So at 10 yards or less, very accurate. The recoil on this, very manageable, no issues with it whatsoever. Anybody would be able to shoot it. The takedown on this weapon is really easy. You have a lever here on the side, pull that down. What you do is you just work that out a little bit, slide that back just a tad, work the lever out until it pops out a little bit. You don't want to bring it out all the way. It'll make a little click, comes off. You guys have seen it a million times. The spring comes out, the barrel comes out, just like every other subcompact that you got, every other semi-auto that you have. Barrel goes back on, this goes back in, just like every other one, goes back up. You're ready to go. No big deal. And you drop the hammer again. The issues that I have had at the firing range, wanted to go over those. Right now I'm carrying full metal jackets in the magazine. These are just regular Winchester white box. The Winchester white box that you buy at Walmart feed through this flawlessly. I've never had an issue. I've never had any issue with cycling any round through this gun, except for the Remington hollow points that I purchased at Walmart, and this is one of the Remington hollow points that I bought at Walmart. This gun did not like those Remington hollow points. It was constantly having failures to feed and failures to eject when I was shooting these through it. I had 3 or 4 of those happen, and then I just stopped shooting. Those particular bullets went back to the hollow points, or excuse me, to the full metal jackets. No issue at all. So I think that that's a bullet issue. I don't think that that has anything to do with the weapon itself. I'm inclined to go and try and get some of the new Federal, I think they're called the Guard Dog, the new Federals that have come out that are full metal jackets, or they act like full metal jackets, they look like full metal jackets, but they mushroom, they flower the same way that the hollow points do. The only drawback to those Federals that I've seen is that they tend to be a little bit on the light side. As far as I think they're around 100 grain, maybe 105 grain if I read the reviews correctly on them, but either way, it's a hollow point, and I think that they're great for self-defense. Overall impressions of the gun, it's a great gun. I'm a big fan of it. Beretta makes a very, very fine weapon. They've been in business a long time. I think Glocks are tremendous weapons as well, but there are folks that believe that the sun rises and sets with a Glock. I don't necessarily subscribe to that theory, although Glock, there is no doubt, makes possibly one of the finest, if not the finest guns, but I'm sentimental with Berettas. Having grown up around them, I do want to go and purchase one of the old school Berettas, the 92Fs, and do a review on one of those. That'll be the next weapon that I purchase. PX4 Storm, subcompact, great gun. Think that you would enjoy it if you're looking for a gun that has good capacity for concealed carry. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to enjoy shooting it. Go take a look at it. Go get you one. Hope you enjoy the review. Thanks.